think of when you're hatching and cross hatching, think in terms of cross contour lines. And remember when we were doing those, that those are contour lines that follow the form. So what I suggest when I start is I start with just hatched lines going in one direction. And then I go back over it with cross hatched lines going in another direction, but still following the form. Like I can see this part of the palm here curves up. So as I'm using these hatched lines, I'm also making cross hatched lines to darken them, but in each direction they're going to more or less follow the form of the hand. And when I come up to an edge, for example, I'm going to try and turn those forms rather than come up to a hard line. I'm going to come right up to the edge and stop, and as much as possible leave just sort of those broken areas to define the shape rather than a hard line. There's some areas that'll be nice and dark and then have the cast shadow on them, which is slightly lighter. So with those, I'm also using, those cross contour hatch lines that follow the direction of the fingers, the roundness of them. So my advice is really go slow and let the lines build up. The main thing is in my drawing, the light is really hitting mostly here and this side of the finger. So I'm conscious of leaving those lines basically just the white of the paper, and slowly building up as I come over the wrist area. The hatching lines I'm making follow that roundness of the wrist, and they even kind of break in places and then continue again. So start with hatching lines and then go in, and I'll notice I want to get this darker here, then I'll go in with some cross hatch lines the other direction to slowly pull that back into some shadow and kind of get whatever music you need to get yourself into the mood for this, because it's kind of a meditative process of building up these layers. But mostly keep in mind, the most important thing with this is keep in mind where the overall light pattern is coming from, where the light source is, because you want to build this up so that you're showing the viewer, since like the value scales you did were all about ranges of light to dark, this is the same thing. So let those build up as you go, and sit back every once in a while and look at the big picture of it, and then come back in and make small additions where you go over areas where you've already gone. But be conscious of following the form of the object, as well as remembering that the overall point of this is to describe the form in light and shadow with a range of tones.